Today we will see the second part of the article Riemann integral. In first part, we have seen some definitions, theorems and examples regarding this. We will just review the first we have seen. Now, we have seen the definition of maximum and minimum of the function defined as the maximum of function f over the interval I is the least upper bound of the function f of x over the interval I, and minimum of the function over the interval I is the greatest lower bound of the function over the interval. We have also seen a finite subset x0, x1, x2 dash xn of a closed bounded interval AB as a subdivision if it satisfies this condition. Then if sigma is a subdivision like this, set x0, x1, x2, xn of the closed bounded interval AB, then we have some intervals here. I1 defined as a closed interval x0, x1, I2, I3 and so on In. All these intervals are called as a component intervals of the subdivision sigma. Then we have the definition of upper sum. The upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma is defined as summation k is equal to 1 to n maximum of the function f over interval ik into length of interval ik. Similarly, we have also defined the lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma as summation k is equal to 1 to n minimum of the function f over the interval ik into length of interval ik. And this obvious relation, that is upper sum is always greater than equal to lower sum for any function f corresponding to the subdivision sigma. Then we have seen this theorem, we have proved it, and then we have calculated the upper sum and lower sum for function f corresponding to subdivision sigma, this defined as like this. And then in second example, we have computed the limit n tends to infinity upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma n. Now we define here the upper integral, lower integral and Riemann integral. Let f be a bounded function on the closed bounded interval ab, then we define this integration a to b. There is a bar below b, that is the upper limit, and so it is called as a upper integral of f of x dx, and it is defined as this integration a to b f of x dx is equal to greatest lower bound of upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma. This greatest lower bound is taken all over subdivisions sigma of closed interval ab. Similarly, we have the definition for lower integral. The lower integral here we denote it like integration a to b, and here we have put a bar below the lower limit of the integration, and therefore we call it as a lower integral a to b f of x dx. We defined it like this: lower integral a to b f of x dx is the least upper bound of lower sum for f corresponding to sigma, where this least upper bound is taken all over the subdivision sigma of closed interval ab. Let f be a bounded function on the closed bounded interval ab, then we say that the function f is a Riemann integrable on closed interval ab if this upper integration a to b f of x dx is equal to lower integration a to b f of x dx. Means if the upper integral and lower integral are equal, then that function is called as a Riemann integrable function over the interval closed interval ab. We also write integration a to b f of x dx as, in short form, integration a to b f. Then the same can be defined as integration a to b f is equal to lower integration a to b f is equal to upper integral a to b f. We denote the RAB as a class of all functions f which are Riemann integrable on closed interval ab. Then we have the theorem. The statement of theorem is, let f be a bounded function on the closed bounded interval AB, then f belongs to RAB means f is a Riemann integrable function over the closed interval AB if and only if for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists subdivision sigma of closed interval AB such that upper sum for f corresponding to sigma is less than lower sum for f corresponding to sigma function. So we will prove it. Proof. First, suppose that epsilon greater than 0, then there exists a subdivision sigma such that upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma is less than lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma plus epsilon. Then, since upper integration a to b f is less than upper sum for the function corresponding to sigma, and by definition lower integration a to b f is greater than equal to lower sum for function f corresponding to subdivision sigma. Then by the given condition we get that upper integral a to b f is less than lower integral a to b f plus epsilon. Since epsilon was arbitrary, it follows that upper integral a to b f is less than equal to lower integral a to b f, and give this as a statement 1. But by the definition of lower and upper integral, it is lower integral is always less than equal to upper integral, and therefore integration a to b f is less than equal to upper integration a to b f. Give this is statement number 2. Now from these two statements we get that integration a to b f lower integral is equal to upper integral a to b f, and this proves that f is a Riemann integrable, and we write it as a f belongs to RAB, means f is in the class of Riemann integrable function over the closed interval AB. Now conversely, suppose that f is a Riemann integrable function, then we have to prove the condition. Now as f is a Riemann integrable function, it is clear from the definition that upper integral is equal to lower integral, and therefore we are getting here upper integral a to b. Here we have put the bar below the upper limit of the integration, so it is upper integral f of x dx is by definition greatest lower bound of upper sum for function f corresponding to subdivision sigma is equal to least upper bound of lower sum for function f corresponding to sigma is equal to lower integration a to b of dx. Then epsilon positive, we may choose a subdivision sigma such that upper integral a to b f plus epsilon by 2 is greater than upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma. Here we are deleting here greatest lower bound of that one, and therefore we are taking here the relation statement like this: upper integration of f plus epsilon by 2 is greater than upper sum. Similarly, we choose again a subdivision tau such that lower integral a to b f minus epsilon by 2 is less than lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision tau. Then by usual relation we get lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision tau plus epsilon by 2 is greater than upper sum for f corresponding to sigma minus epsilon by 2. But we know that upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma is greater than equal to upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma star. This already we have proved in above theorem. Similarly, we have also lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision tau is less than equal to lower sum for f corresponding to its refinement. Here sigma star and tau star are refinement of sigma and tau. Now they are obtained from sigma and tau by at least adding a single point in the subdivision sigma and tau. Now we will consider sigma union tau, and it is clearly a refinement of sigma and tau both. So we get the same relation we can write here like this. Lower sum for f corresponding to refinement here sigma union tau plus epsilon by 2 is greater than upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma union tau minus epsilon by 2. Then clearly we will change the side of epsilon by 2. Then we will get here epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2 is epsilon, and then replacing again this refinement by single subdivision sigma, we will get the equivalent statement is that upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma is less than lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma plus epsilon. That is, we have proved the condition when we have considered that the function is Riemann integrable function. So we have proved this theorem in both the ways, that we have considered the condition holds, then we have proved Riemann integrable function, and secondly we have considered that f is a Riemann integrable function, then it satisfies this condition. We will see the corresponding examples for this one. First we will see the example where the function is not Riemann integrable. Now, example is, show that the characteristic function chi of the rational numbers in closed interval AB is not Riemann integrable. Means here we have to show that this function is not Riemann integrable function. Means by definition of Riemann integrable, we have to show that the upper integral and lower integral are not equal. Now we'll see, let chi be the characteristic function of the rational numbers in closed interval 0, 1. Let J be any interval such that J is subinterval of closed interval 0, 1. Then by definition of chi, we get here, the definition of chi is a chi suffix a of x is 1 if x is belongs to a, and chi suffix a is of x is 0 when that x does not belongs to a. So here by that definition we claim that maximum of the chi over the interval j is 1 and minimum of the function chi over the interval j is 0. Hence for any subdivision sigma we have upper sum for chi corresponding to subdivision sigma is 1 and lower sum for the function chi corresponding to subdivision sigma is 0. It follows that lower integration a to b1 a to 1 chi is 0 and upper integral a to 1, and here is a bar showing that it is the upper integral of the function chi is 1. So clearly here lower integral is 0 and upper integral is 1. So 0 is not equal to 1 on the right side, and therefore left hand sides are also not equal. So we get, therefore lower integral a to 1 chi is not equal to upper integral a to 1 chi, and hence the characteristic function chi does not belongs to the class of Riemann integrable function over the closed interval 0, 1. That is, characteristic function chi is not Riemann integral. Now we will see the another example where the function is Riemann integrable. Now the example is, show that the constant function is Riemann integrable. We will solve this. Let the constant function f on the closed interval AB is defined as f of x is equal to c for every x belongs to closed interval AB. Here c is constant. Let sigma is any subdivision of the closed interval AB. Then by definition of upper sum, we are getting here upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma is the summation k is equal to 1 to n maximum of the function over the interval ik into length of ik. Clearly here the maximum of the function f over ik is c. Therefore we are getting summation k is equal to 1 to n c into length of ik. Then clearly c is a constant, so we will take it outside the summation sign, and we are getting c into summation k is equal to 1 to n mod of ik. Now clearly this mod of ik as a summation from 1 to n means it is the summation of all component intervals of the A, and therefore here we are getting the summation of this one as a b minus a, and therefore here it is c into b minus a. Similarly, we will calculate the lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma. By definition, it is k is equal to 1 to n minimum of the function f over the interval ik into mod of ik. These ik's are the component intervals of closed bounded interval ab. Now clearly here summation k is equal to 1 to n small c. Here this c is a minimum of the function f over the interval ik into length of ik. Again c is a constant, we will take it outside the summation sign. So c into the summation k is equal to n mod ik. Clearly here again ik are the component intervals of the closed interval ab, and therefore this summation is the length of interval, total length of interval, and that is b minus a, and therefore here that this is equal to c into b minus a. Now by definition here the upper integral a to b f of x dx is greatest lower bound of the upper sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma, and clearly it is c into b minus a, and the lower integral as per definition lower integral a to b f of x dx is the least upper bound of the lower sum for f corresponding to subdivision sigma, and this is clearly again c into b minus a. So here right side on this equation, this one and this one is the same. So the right side of the equation are same, so left hand sides are also same, and therefore this upper integration and lower integration are equal. Therefore we are writing here upper integral a to b f is equal to lower integral a to e f, and hence f is a Riemann integrable function over the closed interval ab. That we will write like this: f belongs to RAB, that is the function, given function is Riemann integrable function. In this way we have shown that the constant function is a Riemann integrable. So we have taken the definition of Riemann integrable function, and then we have seen the two examples in which the function is Riemann integrable and where the another function which is Riemann function is not integrable. Thank you.